Hey everyone, so you know the whole race for AI dominance? It turns out it's not just about who can build the biggest model anymore. What if the real secret, the actual key, is all about better knowledge? Today, we're going to dive into how a project called Codatta is trying to build that very foundation from the ground up, and, maybe more importantly, how you can actually be a part of it.
So let's just start with the most fundamental question, right? We're constantly hearing about bigger models, faster chips, more processing power. But what if the real thing holding AI back, the true bottleneck, isn't about power at all? What if it's the very information, the very data that it's learning from? This quote, right here, it just gets straight to the heart of the matter. The whole argument is that AI doesn't fail because the models are too small. It fails because it's being fed junk data. I mean, think about it. It doesn't matter how amazing your chef is, right? You just can't make a 5-star meal with spoiled ingredients. It's the same idea.
And that idea brings us perfectly to our first stop, understanding what's being called the frontier data problem. This is the core challenge we really have to get our heads around to see why a totally new way of thinking is so necessary.
This slide really lays out the massive shift in thinking. On one hand, you've got the old way, just mass data scraping. It's a brute force approach that screams quantity over quality, and it leads to AI that's kind of generic and honestly pretty unreliable. But the new way, the one Codatta is pushing for, is all about precision. It's about knowledge that's carefully built by actual human contributors, creating specialized, high-value information, and making sure the people who create it get rewarded.
Okay, so if messy, low-quality data is the problem, what's the solution? Well, that brings us to the core concept behind all of this, the idea of building what they call a knowledge layer.
And listen, this isn't just some single tool or a new data set. The vision here is way bigger. The goal is to build an entire ecosystem where experts and contributors can create top-tier proprietary data for fields where getting it right is absolutely critical. We're talking robotics, healthcare, finance, places where precision is everything.
Okay, so a big vision is great. But how does it actually work? How do people get involved? For this part, let's kind of step into the workshop and take a look at the actual tools that people can use right now to contribute and to earn.
All right, first up, we've got something for the developers. Codatta has released a brand new dataset specifically for embodied AI. And if you haven't heard that term, it's basically the science of teaching AI how to interact with the real physical world. Think of a robot learning how to pick one specific coffee mug off a super cluttered table. That's embodied AI.
So this dataset is called RoboManipTraj Demo, and it's already open-sourced on Hugging Face. The thing is packed with super high-precision data about robotic manipulation, loaded with spatial coordinates and pose annotations. This is the exact kind of detailed, nitty-gritty, specialized information you need to teach robots those really complex, fine-grained movements.
But hang on, what if you're not a robotics engineer? I mean, the whole point of this ecosystem is for it to be open to everyone. So now let's look at a tool that's designed for pretty much anyone to contribute and earn almost without even thinking about it.
This is done with something called the Codatta Clip Chrome extension, and it's designed to be incredibly simple. You just install it, click Start, and that's it. It just works quietly in the background, anonymously collecting fashion data while you browse the web. It's a super easy way to contribute valuable data to the ecosystem and get rewarded for it, creating a really simple way for anyone to get into this new data economy.
So we've seen the tools in the workshop, but an ecosystem is nothing without its people, right? It's just an empty building. So let's head over to the town square, so to speak, and talk about the community, which is really the beating heart of this entire project.
To give you a real feel for how this community actually works together, let's do a quick knowledge quiz they ran not too long ago. Take a look at the image on your screen. In the world of robotics, would you call this thing a gripper or a two-finger hand? Take a second, think about it. You got your answer?
The correct answer is a gripper. And here's why a tiny detail like that actually matters a whole lot. In a super specialized field like robotics, using precise language is everything. A gripper has simple, rigid plates. But calling something a hand implies it has much more complex, multi-jointed fingers, like a human hand. This little quiz is a perfect example of how the community works together to build a shared, accurate, and valuable understanding of things.
All right, so we've got the tools and we've got the community, but what powers it all? What makes the whole thing go? To understand that, we need to pop the hood and look at the economic engine that's driving this entire system.
At the very core of this whole system is a really simple idea. For data to be trusted, the people who contribute it need to have some skin in the game, right? There has to be a real stake in the quality of the information. And this is where Codatta's token, which is called $X and Y, comes into play.
As you can see here, the token isn't just for one thing. It plays a bunch of key roles. It represents ownership, which lets creators mint their datasets as unique assets. It's used for staking, where people can lock up tokens to basically vouch for data quality and earn rewards. It's how payments are made when clients want to use the data. And finally, it enables governance, giving token holders a real say in the platform's future. It's basically the economic glue that holds the entire system together.
We've seen the problem, we've seen the big vision, we've checked out the tools in the workshop, and we've even looked at the engine under the hood. So let's bring it all together and talk about what might be the most important part of this whole story: your role in this future.
See, there's a role for pretty much everyone in this kind of ecosystem. If you're an expert in something, you can contribute your knowledge to build the next generation of datasets. If you're a developer, you can become an AI trainer. And if you just want to help out, you can earn passively with simple tools like Codatta Clip, or you can just join the community to learn and share.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? This whole shift from just scraping data off the internet to intentionally building knowledge, it's happening right now as we speak. It points to a future where deep expertise is actually valued and rewarded in totally new ways. So the question I want to leave you with is this: will you just be a spectator, or will you be a builder?